Courteney Cox and Johnny McDaid are back in headlines because a major relationship update has now been confirmed. After more than a decade together, the Friends and Scream actress and the Snow Patrol musician have ended their relationship. What makes this story different from a simple celebrity breakup is what remains quiet around it. The split has been confirmed in public reporting, but neither Cox nor McDaid has issued a direct public statement, and representatives were not immediately available for comment. So the central question is not only what happened, but what is actually confirmed, what is only being reported, and why this update is drawing attention now. For verified entertainment updates without the rumors, subscribe to Startline Entertainment. The clearest confirmed update is this. Courteney Cox, now 62, and Johnny McDaid, 49, have parted ways after a relationship that stretched across more than 10 years. People reported that it could confirm the breakup, while also noting that the Daily Mail was first to report the news. Entertainment Weekly also reported the split and said it reached out to representatives for Cox and Snow Patrol for comment. That matters because, as of the latest public information, the breakup is not being framed through a joint statement, a legal filing, or a dramatic announcement. It is being confirmed through reporting, while the two people involved have remained publicly quiet. The last clear public sighting of Cox and McDaid together came in September 2025, when they attended the U.S. Open in New York City. Before that, Cox had publicly marked McDaid's birthday in July with an affectionate social media tribute. Those two details are important because they help set the public timeline. The relationship still appeared publicly warm in mid-2025, but by June 2026, the confirmed update is that they are no longer together. What has not been officially confirmed by either of them is the exact private moment when the relationship ended. Cox and McDaid's story began in 2013 when they met through mutual friends in a Hollywood circle that also included Ed Sheeran. They were first linked publicly that year, and by 2014, the relationship had moved quickly into engagement. At the time, it looked like one of those celebrity pairings that had crossed worlds naturally. Cox was already globally known from Friends and later Scream, while McDaid had built his career as a musician, songwriter, and member of Snow Patrol. But the relationship was never a simple straight line. In 2015, Cox and McDaid called off their engagement. Public reports at the time pointed to relationship problems, and by 2016, they had reconciled, but they did not return to the same status. Years later, Cox explained on The Ellen DeGeneres Show that McDaid was no longer her fiancé, even though they were together again. That distinction became one of the defining details of their relationship. They had stepped back from marriage plans, but not from each other. That earlier breakup became even more significant in 2024 when Cox spoke candidly on Minnie Driver's Minnie Questions podcast. She described a painful moment years earlier when McDaid ended the relationship during a couple's therapy session. The podcast transcript is automatically generated, so the wording should be treated carefully. But the core point is clear. Cox said the breakup forced her to look inward, examine boundaries, and change how she approached relationships. In that same conversation, she framed the earlier split not as a tabloid turning point, but as a painful experience that led to growth. That is why the current split is getting attention now. Viewers are not just seeing the end of a long relationship. They are seeing the end of a relationship that had already survived an engagement being called off, a reconciliation, years of long-distance challenges, public milestones, and repeated comments from Cox about how the relationship had changed her. The timeline gives this update emotional weight, but it does not give the public permission to invent a hidden reason. The responsible version of the story is simple. They were together for years. They had public ups and downs, and they are now no longer together. Some reports, citing the Daily Mail, have described the split as amicable and suggested the two had been living increasingly different lives. Those details have circulated publicly, but they should be handled as reported context, not as a direct statement from Cox or McDaid. There is no public evidence of a legal dispute, no confirmed allegation, and no official statement blaming either person. The safest and most accurate wording is that the breakup has been confirmed, while the private reasons remain largely unconfirmed. The career context also explains why this story travels quickly. Cox remains one of television's most recognizable actors because Friends has never really left popular culture. Her Scream role has also kept her connected to a major film franchise across decades. McDaid, meanwhile, is known both for Snow Patrol and for songwriting collaborations beyond the band. When a relationship connects two well-known entertainment worlds for more than a decade, even a quiet split becomes public news. Still, the most important detail is restraint. There is no need to turn this into a scandal story. The confirmed update is enough. Cox and McDaid's relationship lasted through public engagement, separation, reconciliation, and years of public support. They were seen together at major events, they spoke warmly about one another in past interviews, and Cox herself had previously described the earlier breakup as something that reshaped her understanding of love, boundaries, and self-work. The start line takeaway is that this story should be covered as a relationship status update, not as a blame narrative. What changed is public status. A long-running celebrity relationship has ended. What matters now is the timeline. The couple had been together since 2013, were engaged in 2014, called off that engagement in 2015, reconciled in 2016, and continued together for years without becoming engaged again. What viewers should not assume is a dramatic cause, a private conflict, or a definitive reason that neither Cox nor McDaid has publicly confirmed. So the verified summary is this. Courteney Cox and Johnny McDaid have split after more than a decade together. Their last widely reported public appearance together was at the U.S. Open in September 2025. Their representatives had not provided immediate comment in the latest reporting, and while some outlets have repeated claims about an amicable separation, the exact private reason has not been officially confirmed. For now, the story ends where responsible reporting should leave it, with the confirmed relationship update, the public timeline, and the acknowledgement that some details remain private.